You're listening to
Super Dad. They're so crazy.
Stay tuned to 102 Pearl FM, the number one fun station in the UAE.
Welcome guys, welcome to this week's exciting episode of Super Dads on 102 Pearl FM, the number one fun station in the UAE. It's a show. It's produced, managed and presented by Super Dads for, you guessed it, the unsung hero of family life, the Super Dad. Each week we will invite a Super Dad to the show to discuss family, careers, challenges and life in general as a modern day superhero. And if you stick around over the coming weeks, I can pretty much guarantee there or thereabouts, maybe get there, but hopefully by the end of it you'll also come out the other end as a Super Dad yourself. I'm GSB and I'm so happy to be joined by my best mate, Mr. Samuel Browning.
Hello, buddy.
How's it going, mate?
Yeah, not bad. Good afternoon.
Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. Working on scripts and trying to...
Okay,
I don't know a lot about what we're about
right.
to talk about, so I had to do a bit of research,
Okay.
like deep dive journalism.
To be fair, you're now
Watergate stuff.
You're walking around with a satchel now and a blazer. You're very into this journalism,
I am.
aren't you?
I've got a pencil, can't write, but it looks like I can.
You can chew the end of it.
Yeah.
That's always a
There's
good
a
one.
rubber bit at the end.
Yeah, okay. Ready? Right down, you can stop.
Like last week's Lego, that goes up my nose too. How's your week, mate?
Yeah, not bad. Work's busy. Can't complain. Kids are good. Sophie's into swimming at the moment. She's doing really well, so that's always a fun thing. Rugby on a Saturday morning, although it's getting hot now, especially when they ask the dads to join in. I didn't sign up for a 50-yard sprint first thing on a Saturday morning. I tell you that much for free.
No, and have to pay for it.
Yeah. If I wanted to do that, I'd get a personal trainer. I'd get more out of it.
I know. How's your keto going?
Yeah, it's still going really well. Yeah, the weight's...
So what you dropped now since January?
Oh, since January it's been 3 stone, 19 kg, I think.
Wow, that's brilliant.
So far.
You
Yeah,
must
no,
be
it's
chuffed.
nice. It is. It's a good journey to go on. You know, it's then working out where we go from here, really, because it's fun while it's lasting. But you know, the tough thing is keeping it off.
When you get home at night, does like the wife think, "Oh, I've got a new man here"?
She thinks that, and then he leaves, and then I come home. So,
right, you just ruin the moment.
Exactly, it's really, really tough on that one. So, but listen, before we introduce this week's incredible guest, we're going to have a quick break. So stay with us on Super Dads on 102 Pearl FM, the number one fun station in the UAE.
You're listening to
Super Dad. They're so crazy.
Stay tuned to 102 Pearl FM, the number one fun station in the UAE.
Welcome back, guys. You're listening to Super Dads on 102 Pearl FM. I'm Sam. The guy over there is my pal Gary.
Yo.
And we're very, very, very lucky today to be joined by an incredible guest. We're very fortunate to have booked him. He's turned down millions of offers to turn up today, but it is the incredible Mr. Kourie, who is the head of sports medicine at Mediclinic Parkview Hospital. But previously, he was the team doctor for the Sharks rugby team in South Africa for over 5 years, before making the move here today with his wonderful family. Today, he's going to be discussing the importance of engaging our kids in sports. I think he's a potential super dad, and obviously at the end of the show, we'll establish whether or not he really has the credentials, shall we say, to be upgraded to a genuine one.
Cojones.
Exactly. So, Dr. Allen, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, guys. It's good to be here. Thank you for the invite.
No, absolute pleasure.
I've got a question straight out the bat.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you, in your younger days, when you used to go out,
I'm still in my
Socialite.
younger days.
He's in his younger
in your
days.
younger days, when
Okay.
you would go out socialising and meeting the female.
Before you met your lovely wife, of course.
Before you met, is that basically everything that he just said? Is that what would be your chat-up line?
Interestingly, good question.
Dr. Allen's in the house.
Put him on the spot.
Hopefully the wife's not listening to this. I actually, interestingly enough, used to throw out the fighter pilot
is that what you went
line.
with?
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I don't think people believed I was a doctor.
I always thought.
But they would believe you're a
Fighter
fighter pilot.
pilot.
Really? You just got that killer look in your eyes.
Totally,
Is that
a
what it
little
is?
Top Gun.
Top Gun. Yeah, I did. I tried it once, but it was more like fat bum. So
Yeah, very true. Actually. Yeah, incredible. Look, before we get into the nitty gritty, the hard-hitting journalism that we normally love and strive for on this show, Alan, tell us about yourself. Tell us about your background with the family. Tell us who you are.
Cool. Okay. Well, this is round 2 for me in Dubai.
Wow,
So
okay.
that's
Wow.
an interesting fact. I lived here in 2008 to 2010 for 2 years. was involved with starting up City Hospital, Mediclinic City Hospital. From the ground floor, actually, was the first doctor employed there.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Arrived 5 months before the hospital opened with my wife, who was then girlfriend. And now we're back again. So then was emergency medicine, set up the emergency medicine department there.
Okay.
Worked there for 2 years and then got into sports medicine in South Africa, and so moved back home to Cape Town and studied sports medicine, and then got the Sharks job. And
So how did that come about, working for the Sharks?
Long story that, but an awesome story. I finished the studies, the sports medicine studies, and then was a little bit uncertain which direction was going to go in. And in South Africa, there's not as many professional sports as there's, say, in the States or Australia or the UK. It's really just rugby. And in rugby, you kind of got to work in Super Rugby or Currie Cup. So there's 4 main teams, and I just thought, wow, how am I going to get into one of these main
Was that
main
always
teams?
the goal, straight into that?
Yeah, that would be the best. It's the most professional sport and probably the best job to have as a sports doctor when you're sort of getting started out. And certainly the most exciting. And I was lucky enough to get an interview there, and one thing led to another, and got the job. So moved from Cape Town to Durban. Durban was always a place I'd gone on holiday, so starting up living there now,
life there, huh?
felt like I was living on holiday constantly.
Wicked.
Yeah, it was cool. So went back, did sports medicine, ended up at the Sharks. Lived a little bit all over the world, a little bit in Ireland, all the big cities in South Africa. I like adventuring, moving around a little bit. So now I have my lovely wife, Kelly, and our beautiful little Sella, who we waited
fantastic.
for 3 years for. And
How old
finally
is she?
She is now 17 months yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay. So you're still in are you sleepless night phases, or just
are we
you're
getting
past
out
it
of the
now?
sleepless nights?
Okay, that's always helpful.
Yeah, although maybe the wife might have a slightly different impression.
She
of
may
that.
think a bit
Maybe I'm
differently.
sleeping through the cries a little bit more. But yeah, finally getting out of that. Feels like you're getting a little bit out the trenches. Starting to get the dad bod worked off a little bit, and finding a bit of time to do something else.
Alan, I think there's several of your dad bods in either one of mine and Gary's dad bods, so I don't think you have anything to worry about there.
I think I could fit your t-shirt around my left thigh. Right, so this is really exciting. I'm actually quite looking forward to understanding a little bit more about what you do, which I don't know anything about, if I'm honest. I'm also a little bit concerned for us because he's clearly proper clever. So I think this is the week we get found out.
Yep.
So until we get found out, stay with us on Super Dads on 102 Pearl FM, the #1 fun station in the UAE.
You're listening to
Super Dads. They're so crazy.
Stay tuned to 102 Pearl FM, the #1 fun station in the UAE.
Welcome back, guys, to 102 Pearl FM. This is Super Dads. I have to say, I'm getting a bit frustrated with Pablo this evening.
Yeah, he is.
He's getting a bit bossy. He was a bit rude to our guest.
Yep.
Saying that he's clever but shy. He needs to speak up. He also keeps telling us to keep hurrying up with our links. This is magic that we're making, Pablo. Magic.
You can't put a time limit on it. If I want to talk for an hour, I'll talk for an hour.
Barry Manilow once said, could it be magic? And our answer is yes, it is. So drop it out.
Do you know, I think this is the second show you've mentioned Barry Manilow. I don't know why.
I love Barry Manilow. You look actually like a young Barry Manilow.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Check our
Yeah,
Instagram.
that's
Is that
a
a compliment?
compliment.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, it's a
thanks.
comment. He was
Thank
very
you.
popular in his youth, let me tell you.
Oh, okay.
So we're back. I've told Pablo off. He's in his place. He's in his box now. Stressing me out. Right. So before we go really, really, really deep, I'm going to ask one of the most obvious questions you can ever be asked. What's sports medicine? Does it make you take a pill you can run faster? No?
No, injection.
That's a different
what?
episode.
Welcome back to Never Mind.
That is a good question, actually, because interestingly enough, not a lot of doctors will actually know where sports medicine fits in. So I've spent a bit of time, funny enough, today actually doing a couple of presentations to some doctors and some management about what exactly sports medicine is. It's quite new, I would say, in the medical world compared to your established professions like gynecology and ENT and surgery. Sports medicine is climbing. Sports in the world is becoming bigger and bigger. Lots of money going into sport. The demands for good sports medical care, I think, is increasing. So I think to answer your question, a lot of people think of sports medicine as sports injuries, and that is probably predominantly the main area. So we will work very closely with orthopedic surgeons, predominantly sports orthopedic surgeons that understand the demands of the sport, predominantly work in one particular body part, so they're specialists in shoulders or knees or hips. I'll also be referring patients for scans, so it's understanding which scan they need, MRIs, ultrasounds, CT scans. It's about a diagnosis, which is critical. Can't treat something and get it better if you don't actually know what you're treating in the first place, so there's a lot of stabbing in the dark that goes on. I like to make sure that we have a solid diagnosis before we move on.
There's no physical stabbing though.
No physical
just checking. Okay.
Yeah, you're supposed to come to you to get better.
I didn't sign up for acupuncture. I know what this is about.
It's like extra service there. And then the physios, of course. So we're almost like directing towards if we feel that it's a surgical need, or if it's a conservative approach, and off to the physio for a bit of rehab. There's other areas of sports medicine too. So we do corporate wellness for executives. I'll come in, we'll give them, we'll go through some blood tests, do a full health screening on them. They'll see our dietitian. They'll see our sports therapist, a dietitian, or,
Sorry, Gary, that's
or a
the phrase
nutritionist.
you've probably never heard.
Yeah, what's that?
Okay. Don't worry.
Don't worry about
We'll
it.
skip over.
Yeah.
It could take
Yeah,
too
yeah.
long.
Okay. All right. That's another show as well.
That's a different show.
And then we'll put it all together and give you a nice exercise plan and try and keep you healthy, follow you up every year. There's exercise for chronic diseases of lifestyle. We have a problem in the world, basically, with obesity and diabetes. So exercise and, again, diet form the basis of...
You keep saying words that are just...
Exercise is a tough one, isn't it?
Exercise, I understand.
You got
It's kind
that
of when
one.
you get a little bit out of breath when you like running to spinnies to get your
Daily bread fix.
yeah,
Okay.
your carbs.
So would you sort of say you're the facilitator, as it were, when somebody, if they're not quite sure, if they're an athlete or maybe a weekend warrior and they're not quite sure what's wrong and they don't know where to go, they would come and see you as sports medicine?
Yeah,
then
that's
you would
exactly it.
assess.
So you would ideally want them to enter the medical service with the sports doctor.
Okay.
Come in, we go through everything, we see where you're at, we have an idea of what we think might be wrong, and then we direct. We either send you for scans so that we can confirm the diagnosis, or you're off to the orthopedic surgeon for surgery, or off to the physios. Yeah, so good directory service. Also, just purely on the medical side, we'll see athletes for illness.
Yeah, okay.
And advise on what they should do. We see guys for screenings before big events. Sometimes you've got to get signed off, so ideally you'd like to come to a sports doctor and just get the heart checked and get everything seen to. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, on that, what are some of the most common sports injuries? I know you said it's not the only part, but it's obviously a big part. What are some of the most common sports injuries that dads, shall we say, they could be obviously any age. Some are big, some are small. We're not talking about pro athletes, but what are the most common injuries that we might face, and how can we prevent them?
Yeah, look, that's a great question. I mean, that's what we see predominantly in our practice.
Is it really?
Okay. Is the weekend warrior. So I think muscle strains, I would say muscle strains, tears, probably the number one cause, pulled hammy.
Yeah,
I think we've all heard it and maybe experienced it before. The biggest cause of injuries, the number one cause of an injury, is a previous injury. So
Really?
to the same body part, yeah. It puts you, if you've rolled your ankle, predisposes you to rolling that ankle again. So I think the problem that we all have is that we sort of put our heads down and hope that it goes away.
Yeah.
It just sort of sorts itself out. That's the problem.
Well, dads are notoriously against seeking help of any kind. I mean, that's why having you here is hopefully gonna give the super dads out there listening the push to, if they are feeling something, go and talk to someone about it.
Yeah, exactly. Look, I used to be like that as well. I'd leave something and just hope that it sort of resolved itself a little, and then try to shake it off, walk it off. All the dads are like that, but I would advise you rather just come in, we check it out, and we give you a couple of exercises if it's not too bad. Give you a couple of rehabilitation exercises, and so for example, here's an example. You roll your ankle. Okay. Interestingly enough, what's called proprioception, your proprioception, which is your feedback from your limb to your brain, that basically tells you where that limb is in space. If you put your arm out to the side there, I know without looking that my hand's there in that position. So that little feedback actually gets knocked out, it gets damaged. So when you're walking or running after you've had an injury, you don't have that really good feedback there. So now you can imagine you need your brain to be calculating exactly where your foot's got to go when you're landing, but now you don't have good feedback there. And so that's what predisposes then to rolling your ankle again. So we give guys exercises to do on the balance balls, some exercises to do with elastic bands. That's all retraining that proprioception again. Something guys didn't know, but it's critically important. Surgery.
Amazing.
That's fascinating.
I just
Yeah,
thought
it's
you woke
interesting
up and did some stuff and went back to bed.
Put some ice
as a
on.
human body, do you know what I mean?
Deep heat is
Deep
massive.
heat.
Deep heat is
Put the
massive.
old
Oh, I
foot
love
up.
deep heat.
Yeah, like some ice on.
Yeah.
Which is actually is important.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
so is that, so muscle strains is a tough one on your ankles.
Yeah.
What else is
Strains are muscle tears, sprains are sprain joints, ankles,
What's
ligaments.
the difference between a sprain and a strain?
Exactly it. So a strain refers to muscles.
Okay.
You've strained a muscle, which means you've torn a muscle. If you talk about a sprain, it's a joint or a ligament injury.
Okay.
You've rolled the joint, you've rolled the ankle, you've caused a ligament sprain. That's the difference, literally.
Okay.
So are you an advocate of stretching?
That's a very good question, and that's something that actually is new and quite cutting edge in sports medicine at the moment. Is
True.
stretching important?
I went to the gym the other day and I did a solid 45 minutes. Within that 45 minutes, there was these two ladies on their mats stretching. They hadn't even started their workout. I sort of hobbled out, feeling old and faded, and they were stretching, having a lovely time before they started working on their core muscles and things that they were going to
listen,
do.
you know what? That's the interesting thing. I think we all kind of get started with exercise without actually doing that. We don't want to do the stretching part. We want to get cracking with what we're there for, and we also
I
don't
am
have time.
man. I lift things.
Let's go. And you don't have the time actually to fit in stretching before and a cool down afterwards. So yes, we should be doing that, but my thoughts particularly on stretching is it should be more of a dynamic stretch as opposed to static. And what that means is basically don't be sitting down in stationary position and doing the good old runner's stretch, pulling the old leg up or stretching the old hammy. Do a dynamic stretch. So move your body while you're stretching. A short jog, swing your limb.
All right, it's interesting then. So what you're saying is, if I'm hearing it right, you go into the gym. If you want to build muscle, you would normally go low rep, high weights. But what you're saying is, a part of your stretching process could be low reps, low weight.
Exactly, really
if you're
low
going to go on a
correct.
run,
Yes.
you do 50, 10 minute just walk.
Totally.
That's brilliant.
That's exactly
That's going to save
it.
a lot of time
Yeah.
for a lot of super dads.
That's exactly it.
Okay,
Yeah.
incredible. Well, listen, we're fascinating stuff so far. We're going to have a quick break and we're going to come back and then dive into what we came here to talk about today. So keep it here on 102 Pearl FM, the number one fun radio station in the UAE. I'm Sam, he's Gary, and we're the Super Dads.
You're listening to
Super Dads. They're so crazy.
Stay tuned to 102 Pearl FM, the number one fun station in the UAE.
Welcome back, guys. You're listening to Super Dads on 102 Pearl FM, the number one fun station in the UAE. Have you been stretching in the break?
I did some squats and some star jumps and things.
You did no such thing, Gary.
All right.
You ordered a
It's
coffee
such
and
a
that was it.
Dobber.
That's
Grass.
all you did. Well, you worked your right
Grass.
arm as you were drinking. But we're joined by Dr. Alan Kourie today, who's the head of sports medicine at Mediclinic Parkview Hospital, who's telling us some incredible things. So far, Gary's learned that you have to stretch before and after exercise. It's a new thing for you. But what we really wanted to talk about, obviously, being dads, the future generation, why is it essential to engage our kids in sport?
Nice question. You know what I like to think when we think sports? I like to actually think physical activity first before thinking sport.
Yeah.
So what we are ideally trying to do is to get our kids active.
Off the sofa.
Yes, and off the screen. So it seems now
So
that
playing FIFA on the Xbox
Doesn't qualify.
doesn't quite count.
Damn it.
E-gaming, that doesn't count. So we think of it as physical activity, which is really good for muscle, bone, joint development in kids. Kids that are active, that exercise, they sleep better. They tend to eat better, make better choices around food. Illness prevention, so your immune system actually gets boosted through activity, so it helps prevent illness.
We've all faced that as dads. You know, the kid comes down with a cold and then has a knock-on effect to the rest of the family.
Of course,
Okay.
of course. And happiness, eh? So we release
Endorphins. See, I know stuff.
Exactly.
He's read a magazine.
I know stuff.
Pablo, don't
ask me
skeptical.
Don't ask me to spell it. Don't ask me to spell it, but I know all about it.
Do you know what else releases endorphins?
Chocolate.
What do you think?
Can we talk about it on the show? I mean, I don't know.
Chocolate.
Chocolate.
Definitely. Chocolate. Definitely.
Oh, what are you chaps thinking? 'Cause
more exercise.
Right.
More exercise with
yes.
other people.
Yes, and laughing.
Team sports.
Yeah.
Laughing reduces endorphins, does it? Oh, well, welcome to the show. You've had great work now.
Pass me the chocolate.
Super dads. Actually, any super dad that listens to this, we hope that you're laughing, so therefore you can go home and tell your wife you had a workout, because technically you have.
Correct. And tell her, you know what releases endorphins.
Chocolate. Yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
The other, yeah.
And the other,
Yes.
any other thing, yeah.
Right. So physical and inactivity, on the other hand, is they say is the new smoking.
Is it really?
Yeah. So it's becoming a bit of a problem in the world. Kids these days, kids and adults, time is a big problem. Screen time is a big problem. Work demands have gone up. People are becoming more and more inactive. So we definitely advise kids to engage in sport. And as parents, we have to enforce that. Life lessons in sport. I think a lot of life lessons can be learned in sport.
Yeah,
you
of
learn
course.
how to win,
Yeah.
what winning feels like, and you also learn what losing feels like as well, and how you manage that.
Which I think is really important.
Yeah.
Really important.
Yeah, yeah.
How do we as parents navigate?
But kids
through-
taking part also counts.
Definitely does. The most diligent prize is a prize.
Yeah. Well done for competing.
Totally, exactly.
Okay, everyone's a winner. My least favourite phrase I've ever heard.
And what else? Social interaction.
Yeah.
So with
Of
other
course,
kids, really important. Community, sense of belonging. Interestingly, in disability sport, which we now call people of determination.
Yeah.
Obviously, we
recently
just had the
Correct.
games in Abu Dhabi,
Yeah.
didn't
Sport for a lot of those athletes has given them a sense of community and a sense of belonging, something to work towards.
Yeah. Purpose.
Purpose, exactly. Yeah.
So it's a really interesting point, but how can super dads integrate sports and exercise with their kids into a daily routine? What are we talking? Are we talking 20-minute walk or?
Yeah. Good question. So what is your routine, I guess, is what you've got to examine first. I suppose this goes out to a bunch of different dads. Some dads may work at home. Some dads' working hours might be different to others. You might be doing the standard 8 to 5. So then what does it entail when you get home from work? So let's say on average most dads work until 5. Maybe in the morning you're getting up, there's not much time there, kids are getting ready for school. We have to be realistic about things. Get home at 5. Maybe that's a time then to engage in a little bit of sport, a little bit of activity.
I asked this question a couple of weeks ago. We had a chap on who sports, fitness, well-being and such. And one of the questions I asked him was about the 10,000 steps a day. Where did that come from? I also found out that he's a vegan, so I literally have now ignored every bit
we?
of
We're
advice.
not quite sure he's qualified now
Yeah,
to actually
you
give
know.
medical advice.
at all. So
Hence us asking you, as a
yeah,
qualified doctor.
as you're the doctor, if you're a fairly active dad already and you're hitting out 10,000 steps, is there a percentage increase that you need to hit on that to see weight loss? What's a good step count for a 10-year-old and stuff like that? Is that even something you can answer?
Should we be looking at that?
Yeah, we definitely should. The thing is, what we should be looking at that is that's actually a bit of a baseline. So 10,000 steps, not easy. It's a decent amount of walking. What that is actually doing is it's creating the consciousness about actually getting moving.
Right.
So not sitting down the whole day.
Yeah.
So basically, it's giving you a goal to work towards, to say, look, right, you need to be active. You need to move your body around. But it's pretty baseline to walk around to do 10,000 steps unless you're doing it at a sort of a more vigorous intensity. So basically,
It's true though. I mean, I'm quite sedentary. I'm either in the car or at the office or in front of a client.
Or in a coffee shop.
Or in a
let's be
coffee
honest.
shop. I walk through the drive-through at McDonald's just to get my steps up.
Yeah.
I get funny
That's a good
looks,
idea.
but it's I feel like important when I do it. So my wife though, she's principal of a nursery. and happy families on
Principal Lisa.
Shout out. So she's all around the nursery. She's running around like a madwoman, and she'll hit 10 to 12,000 steps a day, where I will be probably around 5 to 6,000 steps a day. So we get up early, we go for a walk around Kite Beach. We've joined Sam when we've done it before, so I can at least get my steps above that 10,000, sometimes 12,000. That's what I'm trying to understand, is when you're in a family scenario, everyone has got different lives that they lead, and I just want to, how do you integrate that as a cohesive unit?
Okay, cool. Well, if you think about it, so let's say your wife did 10,000 steps and you did 5,000 steps, but you did 5,000 steps and you went and cycled 4Ks on the bike and raised your heart rate up maybe higher than what her heart rate was raised. You pushed a bit of a sweat, you're a little bit out of breath, then in fact what you're doing is actually better than the 10,000 steps,
because her body's used to it.
Yeah, your body gets used to it.
The body's happy with the 10,000
It becomes
steps.
your normal. You know, we actually have to push ourselves a little bit. Got to get a little bit out of breath. Got to push a little sweat. Got to raise the heart rate a little bit to start achieving some of the benefits, the health benefits from exercise. Yeah. And then the more regularly you do that, and the higher intensity that you're able to do that for the longer period of time, the better.
Okay, so she does 10,000 steps. So if she wants to see some improvements or a little bit of weight loss, even though she's beautiful where she is, maybe up it to 13,000, 14,000 steps, just to push that body that little bit more.
And maybe when we're sort of in a bit of a younger age group, we can push the intensity a little bit. You know, instead of sort of a more mild to moderate intensity, maybe push it up to a little bit more vigorous for a shorter period of time. You know?
Well, that was what I was going to say. So obviously you adjust it and it makes sense for us as adults, but then how do you take that and apply it to the kids and what they're doing?
Yeah, so kids, basically our focus needs to be on them just being physically active. So let's not worry too much about steps, about what heart rates they're doing. Let's get the kids active and enjoying what they do. I think that's critical. They, as dads, they just want to have fun with us, man. They want to like kick the ball, or swing a bat, or play catch. Whatever it is that they be present for them. I think that's probably the starting point before we getting them to even try and be competitive at sport. It's just, first of all, get them enjoying what they want to do, and then when you're doing it with them, don't think about work, don't think about the problems, be fully engaged with them. It sounds easy, but it's quite difficult. But the more time you give your child, and I'm talking about conscious time, the better it is. They feel it, man. They can sense it when you're in it or not.
Fascinating. I'm loving it. We're going to pop off for a quick break now, and then we'll be at the final stages of the show. So stay with us on Super Dads on 102 Pearl FM, the number one fun and fit radio station in the UAE.
You're listening to
Super Dads. They're so crazy.
Stay tuned to 102 Pearl FM, the number one fun station in the UAE.
Welcome back, guys. You're listening to Super Dads on 102 Pearl FM, the number one fun station in the UAE. I'm Sam. My best pal to my right is Gary, and we're joined by Dr. Alan Kourie. So getting back into, you were talking briefly before the break about getting kids into sports and the importance of it, and I know you touched on it briefly, but if I'm not a sporty dad, and let's be honest, I'm not the most sporty of individuals, I'm trying, but if I'm not naturally a sportsman or that kind of thing, how can I support my kids in their engagement in sport?
I think that's exactly the word, is support. Yeah, so maybe you could get into that sport that they like.
I think there'd be a bit of a problem with a 6'3" man running through a load of 7-year-old girls at rugby.
Hey, listen, they can try and tackle me. They've got to learn.
It'd be like a bowling ball going through 10 pins.
Touch rugby, what's that? No, come on, full contact. You're only 4.
Setting a high standard. Look, maybe it means going to games, going to matches, being present, showing them your support. Maybe it's a financial support, so maybe it's paying for lessons, for extra lessons of that particular sport that they enjoy. Maybe it's a verbal interest as opposed to a physical interest. You don't necessarily have to do that sport with them, but if you're showing them that you're interested, maybe it means upskilling yourself about that sport. Watch some documentaries, watch some YouTubes about it, know who the role models are, who the cool sportsmen are in that thing. They're going to think that you're in it with them. you know,
You can
just
all
as
blag
if you're
it as
doing
dads,
it. Yeah,
so-
yeah, exactly, exactly.
Fake it till you make it, as it
That's
were.
that. Well, exactly. That's right. Look as engaged as possible. Yeah. Adventures.
Okay.
You know, maybe that's a different way of looking at things. Sports, maybe do a little adventure. You know, father and son's little adventure away.
Or father and daughters.
Or father and daughters. No, 100%. Exactly. And you know what? There's people out there doing amazing things. Eh? I just recently was with Team Angel Wolf.
Oh,
Did
wow.
the swim with them,
absolutely
yeah.
phenomenal.
Incredible.
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah,
guys.
amazing stuff. And there's so much
inspirational.
good stuff. It's so inspirational. And you know, maybe it's a nice time to ask dads to tell us about maybe some guys are out there doing cool things.
Yeah, absolutely.
what
We'd love
kind
to
of things
have,
have you done?
love to have them on. And talk
Be
about
amazing. Look, I love Formula One, and I've got a daughter, so I'm busy asking her at the moment, do you want to watch Formula One? And she's going, Peppa.
Oh, yes, of course.
Okay. Or we could watch Formula One.
Or Formula One,
Yeah.
you know, one of the two. Similar, all very similar. Same droning noise through the
Exactly.
majority of the hour and a half you watch it, yeah.
So her little bed at home, is it a Ferrari F1 or is it a McLaren?
Oh no, it's 100% McLaren.
Hey.
Yeah, no, listen, definitely not. There's no red in our house. Eh? No Arsenal red, no Liverpool red, no Manchester United red. It's white.
Okay.
Spurs, it's McLaren, it's Mercedes. No, but listen, it's Land Rover. Yeah. If Land Rover was in Formula One,
Really?
I'm Land Rover mad. Land Rover mad.
Okay.
My little daughter knows. We're going for a ride in the Landy.
The Landy.
Yeah.
You take her out on the weekend.
Yeah.
So I mean, how would you propose? Let's say if you're in a family that aren't naturally sporty, you know, kids may engage in it at school, but how can you go about introducing sports into your children's lives? Like, what kind of things
It's a good question.
should you do?
So let's imagine we're not dealing with young children like yourself.
Yeah, okay.
You're a super dad, you're at home, you've got a 13-year-old boy or girl who are sedentary, who play Xbox, who watch
Absolutely.
TV,
Yeah.
who sit on Instagram 15 hours a day. How do you convert that change?
Very good question. There's so
Without
much stuff.
Bribery.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not allowed most of the time.
Yeah, it doesn't work most of the time. Yeah.
Yeah, good question. Look, I suppose there's so much content online now. If we look now compared to 10, 15 years
Oh, wow.
ago,
So
I guess
crazy.
we could try and expose them to different sports, different activities, different hobbies online in a smart way.
Okay.
You know, I don't know how, but getting them to maybe, instead of watching Peppa Pig all the time, maybe we can watch a documentary on something. Maybe there's something a little bit interesting, sporty, adventurous. We probably have to be quite aware of them and perhaps picking up on an interest that we might see developing in them.
Which
Maybe we
comes
can
back to being
enhance.
present.
Yep,
being
exactly.
There.
Yeah, 100%. Exposure. So exposing them to stuff that they may not have seen before. Taking them to events, taking them to sports events, feeling what it's like to be in a stadium. Wow, that feels cool. There's energy. That's cool. They're watching them play soccer or cricket match or something like that. Something that they had never experienced before. Look, that's why I love sports medicine. It's mainly, you know, I loved sports and I love medicine. So going to games, you know, when I was involved with the Sharks, there's nothing more energizing than being in a full stadium.
Oh wow, I can only imagine.
Amazing. So yeah, music concerts. Yeah.
Just getting them there, being present, letting them try new things.
Well, exactly. Yeah. Well, I couldn't have said it better
You know
myself.
what, I do put up a sweat when I go clubbing, I tell you.
Yeah, I've seen you throw some shapes, Gary. I've seen you throw some
Bust
shapes.
some moves out like
Reaching
MC
for the
Hammer.
stars. Yeah. Come on, sir.
YMCA more.
That's
by the way.
exercise. Yeah.
It is exercise, though.
Yeah, totally. Look, dancing's an exercise. Gymnastics, horse riding. You know, you've got to think out the box a little
Walking
bit.
around
Show jumping.
spinnies. Gary,
Yeah,
that's your
yeah.
daily exercise, isn't it?
Oh, it's like a marathon for me. Spinnies. Spinnies get so many plugs on it.
It really does, yeah. You're
joke.
far too often.
I'm
Them
going
and
to say
Starbucks.
Union Co-op or something so I can be one with the
Lulu's.
people. Lulu's. Well, look, this has been amazing. I've learnt a lot.
Absolutely incredible.
So let's bring a little bit of fun into...
More fun. Not that this hasn't been fun. I like
Okay,
to point
fair
that out.
point, fair point. A little bit more fun into the proceedings with basically our favourite part of the show. Super Dad's Question Time! Easy. It's 10 questions, quick fire, straight off the top of your head, and we'll start off with favourite film.
Con Air. For some reason.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage,
Back in
long
the-
flowing
yeah.
locks. I love it.
With that really weird southern drawn accent.
Yeah.
Good film though, good film.
Put the bunny in the box. That was a terrible accent, but yeah.
Is that Sean Connery?
Yeah, put the bunny in a box. Money penny. That was terrible. Okay,
That was awful.
I never said I was an impersonator, did I? Okay, could be an easy one. I think you've alluded to already. But favourite sports team?
McLaren Formula One.
Oh, I like that. We've not had a racing team yet. Nice.
It's probably going to be something healthy, but best restaurant in Dubai.
Could be family, could be personal, could be when you were with the boys.
Look, I love the meat company.
Oh,
Good
good
steak.
shout. Good shout.
But yeah, the old red wine.
Yep.
Or other non-alcoholic beverages.
Correct.
Yeah.
Grape juice.
We all love a mocktail.
Yeah, exactly. This one could be an easy one. I know you've, but your favourite child? We ask everybody.
Fortunately, the one and only.
Okay,
Seller.
that's all right. Then.
Song in the shower.
Your
You
guilty
too?
pleasure song.
You too?
Which one?
With or without you?
Oh, hit those notes. I love it. He's a ballad man. Woo! Gives me chills just thinking
Doctors in
about
the
it.
house with a bit of
Love
U2.
Well, okay, safe or magic fill?
That's a funny one, because I don't know either of them.
Powerful people, but good answer. It's okay.
Yeah,
Don't worry. One's breakfast show presenter on this radio station. The other one's a drive time presenter. But he's only been here. He's not been here very long.
Yeah,
His daughter's still a bit young, so you
Yeah.
probably wouldn't be tuning in yet. But you know, your favourite presenters are really Sam and Gary, super dads. But
True that,
good
true
answer.
That, true that. Your most favouriteest meal that your wife cooks for you?
See, my wife's a dietitian, so rather
celery
healthy-
then.
healthy
Please
than
don't,
celery
please don't tell me vegan. Whatever you do,
Celery with
no,
a side
we
of
will
bacon.
have to ask you to
No,
leave. Okay.
definitely not. And she's a very open-minded dietitian.
Okay.
So chicken pie is actually
Chocolate's
my
on the
favourite.
chocolate could be on the menu. Okay.
Yeah, no, it could be, and it is most evenings.
Wow.
Yeah,
Nice.
but only 2 blocks.
Only 2 blocks.
I limit
Dark
it.
chocolate,
I
75 and
limit it.
above.
No. It's called Top Deck, but you can't really get it here. It's
really?
a mixture of dark and white.
Dark and white
Yeah.
chocolate. That sounds interesting.
I eat something like that's called Oreos. Tea or coffee?
100% coffee, but
Good
it has
man,
to be good
good man.
coffee.
Good
Has
Have you
to be
tried?
good.
Have you tried Arabica? Is it that's how I'm saying it? Arabica?
Yes.
Arabica.
Yes.
There's a coffee.
You're saying it
shop.
like a
You tried that?
question.
It sounded so.
Anything you put on the teleprompter, Ron Burgundy will read. Okay.
Sounded exotic.
It's a very good
Arabica.
one.
Have you heard about
Has
that
to be
coffee
Arabica.
thing? The thing you drink in the morning and it's supposed to help your brain and help you lose weight. You did it once or twice. Lisa does it.
Bulletproof coffee.
Bulletproof
That's
coffee.
the one. Yes.
Is that any
yeah,
good?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Is there any like science behind
Yeah,
that?
look,
actually
I don't
being-
like it. I just like standard good
Straight up
coffee
black
beans.
coffee.
I buy like freshly roasted beans. I have a separate grinder. I do
Oh,
the
you're a
whole
connoisseur,
thing.
are you?
Yeah.
He's a grinder, ladies and
yeah.
gentlemen.
Moving on. Best holiday destination.
For me, it has to probably be Mozambique.
okay.
Borders South Africa.
Yeah.
Coastline for me. For my wife would be the bush.
Okay.
So in South Africa, safaris and
So it's safari. Okay.
safari.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. Okay. Last, but certainly not least, I'm working with children. Favorite Super Dads presenter, Sam or Gary?
Gam.
Gam.
Nice.
I love what he's done. We have a celebrity nickname.
We do. Getting that
Dr.
t-shirt
Allen.
trademarked.
Get that on a t-shirt. Put it on social media. You heard it here first. Gam.
Not just a bad toe.
Exactly. Gam.
Damn.
Or Sari. No, I prefer
No,
Gam.
Sari's
You've
a
nailed that.
bit feminine,
It
Sari.
is a
Yeah.
bit feminine.
That actually could be
Gam.
someone's name.
I
And
love
you
it.
guys are not feminine here.
No.
Thank you, Alan.
No.
Is that a good
Jesus.
thing? Yeah.
Oh, mate.
Definitely not. Gary's a man's man.
Yeah.
In more ways than one.
Well, this has been amazing.
This has been incredible. I've learned so much, Alan. Now is the critical time because now
Yeah,
Gary and
yeah.
I have to decide whether or not you really are a super dad. Everything you've told us. Now, Gary, I want a rating out of 5.
It's
You
tough.
have to make 10, and it's difficult because only every person that comes on the show gets 10. So it's tough.
It's a tough one this week for me because literally 80% of what he said I didn't really understand.
No, but he looked good saying it.
He did. He likes to grind, so
Coffee.
there's a point there. He likes motorsport. I like motorsport.
Nothing wrong with that. Fast cars.
He's got some good advice. He'll help me with my stretching issues.
Yeah.
The fact that I
he's
don't.
he's definitely not doing a deep groin stretch. I'll tell you that much. He told me that already. I asked once.
Damn
He
it.
said no.
Well, then it's a 4.
Okay, 4.
Without the stretching.
Well, in that case, I mean, what you're doing, setting up sports medicine here, a new type of medicine for the weekend warrior, for dads, the advice that you're giving us, the inspiration that you are, especially coming from the Sharks. I love rugby. I'm going to give you a 6.
Oh,
6
wow.
out of 5.
Actually, you can't. It's 5 out of 5.
Well,
It's
I've just
nothing.
done it. He's got
Wow.
10. That means he's a super dad.
Hey!
What a hero. What
That
a
is
hero.
cool, Sam. Thank you.
Well, Alan, Dr. Alan, thank you so much for being here with us today. We loved having you here. I hope you come back and we can talk more things in the future. But I mean, how can people follow you? How can people find you? I mean, how can they get in touch?
Be careful because you're going to get about 4,000 WhatsApp requests for free advice.
Don't give phone numbers.
So
You are a
Don't
busy
give phone
man. You're
numbers, okay?
proper clever and a doctor
Yeah, exactly.
and a grinder.
And anybody listen to this wants a freebie.
Yeah,
So,
cool. Well, come in.
But
So
how can they find
I'm at setting up the Sports Medicine Centre at Parkview Mediclinic, so you can call 800-1999 and ask for me.
ask you directly?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Make
Will
an
you
appointment.
answer?
I will answer.
Oh, well, incredible. Okay, I'm going to try that tomorrow.
Yeah, try it. Test it. Instagram. I've just started an Instagram now, so I'm getting a little bit more tech savvy there. So Sports Doc Dubai. Yes.
DOC,
Yeah.
Sports Doc.
Sports Doc DOC
Okay.
Dubai.
Everybody go and follow.
Yeah.
Post some good stuff.
Yeah. And that's probably it, eh?
Perfect.
Come and see me or follow.
It's all grand. Well, guys, this has been amazing. Appreciate you coming.
Informative.
Yes.
I feel like I want to be fitter.
I feel like I've lost.
I definitely want to get my kids off the sofa.
I feel like I've lost a couple of pounds just listening. I've got to be honest with you. The old
look
shirt,
it.
the shirt's
You
getting a
look
little
it.
bit
Yeah,
looser. But no, this is brilliant. Now we're talking about handles, so you can remember you can follow us at SuperDads DXB, and obviously you can follow, and we would love you to follow at Pearl FM UAE. This has been Super Dads. This has been Gary.
I've
That's
been Sam.
Dr. Alan.
Oh, sorry, I jumped the gun there, but I've been Sam as well. Don't
He has
forget me.
been Sam, but we've got a sort of
Sorry,
guest.
it's more important that Dr.
He's
Alan
our
than
guest.
Dr.
He's
Alan.
a doctor,
okay?
proper clever, and all those sorts of things. So we'll do that again.
Well, you almost did Gam there, kind of.
This has been
'Cause you
Gam.
Sort of jumped in
This
there.
has been GAM. You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be
Gam.
on mugs. It's going to be on the airwaves. It's going to be everywhere soon.
Yeah.
GAM for life. Hashtag GAM.
Virgin ain't got Gam.
They certainly don't.
You're listening to
Super Dads.
Super
They're so
Dads.
crazy.
Stay tuned to 102 Pearl FM, the #1 fun station in the UAE.